Hello, it's Brad Laurie, or Blockchain Brad, and today we're talking about two prominent startups in the blockchain domain right now. We have Pei-Han, who is the CEO from Morpheus Labs. Pei-Han, thank you very much for being here today.
Hi, everyone.
We also have the CEO, Tri, from Kardiachain. He's here to explain all of the aspects of Kardia in relation to a partnership forged with Morpheus Labs. So thank you once again, Tri.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Brad, for having me.
Very welcome. Now, for those of you who don't know about Kardiachain or of Morpheus Labs, the premise for today's conversation is really to explicate, explain, and highlight the partnership specifically between these two blockchain startups. So if you'd like to know more, this is a great opportunity for us to do so. I'd also like to disclose openly that I am an ambassador for Morpheus Labs, and obviously I know Pei-Han very well as the CEO, and it's my honor to be part of that team. But Pei-Han, I wanted to start with you firstly. If you could give us a bit of a rundown very quickly for those who are very new to Morpheus Labs. What does it stand for? What are you actually trying to do as a team?
Okay, so in short, what we're trying to do is actually to reduce all the adoption barrier between user and core technology. That's what we are calling the blockchain protocols. Because right now in currently, the adoption barrier, whether it's actually time or maybe cost, is relatively quite high. So when we actually reduce this to a minimum, we actually allow the successful rate for this application to grow. I mean,
right. So you're a fundamental conduit between enterprise and the blockchain itself. You're that, as you call it, you're the BPaaS, a blockchain platform as a service model.
Correct. Yes, totally right.
Okay. Now, Tri, I want to talk to you for a moment before we get into the partnership. Kardiachain, I've spoken with the team before. What fundamentally are you about infrastructurally?
Yeah, so Kardiachain is an interoperability blockchain platform. So we connect on the public and also private blockchain together using our own technology on the dual node. So we offer non-invasive connection cross chains. So basically, we can have smart contract on different blockchain that can communicate together without changing any protocol of the underlying blockchains.
Right, and you're based in Vietnam, is that correct?
Yeah, originally we based in the UK, in London, and in Silicon Valley. Right now, because of the opportunity in Asia and especially in my home market is Vietnam, so we relocated to Vietnam.
Right, that's interesting because you're based initially in the West and moved across to where the blockchain hub is. And for those who don't know, Pei-Han, the CEO, is also based in Singapore, arguably one of the key blockchain hubs of the Asian belt itself. Now, gentlemen, let's move across a little bit more to some of the key aspects that you both stand for. Pei-Han, we mentioned the BPaaS model. Let's talk about the app marketplace and even enterprise. Those two things specifically, how do they relate to Morpheus Labs?
Okay, so from our experience, when we talk to a lot of the enterprise or SME or even startup, there's actually a key fundamental things that most of people actually looking at, which is actually they want to get ideas where to start. Not only which blockchain to choose, but it's more like, okay, is there any reference application that we can actually refer to? Currently, there's actually for most of people, actually quite hard to actually get something. So inside our platform, we actually have this application library that we are curating with our partners, which most of partners actually onboarding, we are going to actually have their applications, quite a few of their actually key application into our application. So we'll be actually curating this for our users. So you can imagine maybe in future, one of the enterprise come in, they can actually quickly browse, oh, this is the application that similar to my idea. So why not I just download it and then customize it and then to actually launch it. Yeah, so this is actually our idea.
I see. So customization's quite a key feature of obviously to build this out and to make sure that you can go and allow these enterprises and these business parties to tailor your platform to suit their needs. So really you're a blockchain platform for current time, not for later.
Yes, correct. Current time, yes.
Okay. Now, with Kardia, some interesting things there technologically that for example, the dual node system and even the elastic sharding, both buzzwords right now, especially sharding. What sets you apart, Tri, with your infrastructure?
Yeah, so for the do not is that our own technology that is pending patent. So we registered last year. So do not is essentially a framework for node that can join two blockchain at the same time. So it can gather information on both blockchain, and also it can read and write in both blockchain. So that and also we have the consensus running between the do not. So we keep it decentralized cross-chain communication.
Okay.
Yeah, and you mentioned elastic sharding. Actually, our approach in order to optimize the network structure. So because Kardiachain network structure, we have different do not group that connect Kardiachain and the other blockchain. For example, we have the Ethereum Kardia do not group, the Neo Kardia do not group. So depending on the demand, the traffic of the cross-chain activity, so we have the mechanism to shift the do not from the number and also the connection between the do not.
I see. So essentially the cross-chain value to be able to enable that interactivity, that interoperability between two chains.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, here's the interesting question for both of you, and this is, I think, one of the most important things for retail investors to understand, and for any parties wanting to know more about your project. Where's the real value in the partnership? And I literally mean real, because we hear a lot of these discussions, gentlemen, about these superficial partnerships, often done for PR. But what I really want to dig deep in this interview is find out what the real meaning of this is for both of you, reciprocally, obviously, in nature. So can we start perhaps with a bit of the general nature of this collaboration? Perhaps you'd like to start, Pei-Han, from the Morpheus Labs side. What is the fundamental reason why this partnership exists?
Okay, for fundamental reason, I think most of our community knows that we aim to be a blockchain agnostic. So we are actually progressively and continuously selecting different blockchains, which actually having different strengths in their key area. So aside that, we also try to pick blockchain who already has a certain presence in certain regions, which actually can help Morpheus Labs to enter the market as well. So this is actually a key things that actually we select, and we are actually looking at a good one, and also we'll actually check with the team whether they are actually skillful enough, and do we have the synchronized and synergy in future collaboration. So for us, it's also answer back to your question is actually we're actually looking very closely on how we grow in that region.
That makes a lot of sense, especially given your experience in the Asian area, being in Singapore. Now, Tri, I want to ask you, obviously you did your own due diligence when you assessed Morpheus Labs, for example. It's a big deal to partner with someone for real. What was it about Morpheus Labs that made it reasonable for you to partner? And do you also concur with what Pei-Han's saying about the value of the region, the prospects of growing together?
Yeah. So for Kardiachain, our vision is to actually to push for the mass adoption, or not only for Kardiachain but also for blockchain technology as a whole. So we are really focusing on onboarding new user and also new developer. So it's naturally for us to find Morpheus Labs because they are the prominent player in the BPaaS, the blockchain platform as a service. And also I get quite a few recommendations from our partner as well to get to Morpheus Labs. So Morpheus Labs essentially they help developer life easier, make it easier for them to test out and to try new things, to build the app on blockchain, on various blockchains. So we also want Kardiachain a part of that ecosystem. And also in return, we will have more developer go to Kardiachain, explore the Vietnam market and also for the regional markets in near future.
Right. Well, can you talk us through a bit more about the Vietnam market? You mentioned before you moved from Silicon Valley and the UK to really capitalize on this burgeoning market in Vietnam. Paint us a picture, though, of what it actually looks like on the ground.
Oh, yeah. So it's all began in last September, in September 2018. So that the first time we officially come to Vietnam in order to attend a government conference on cryptocurrency regulation and also for the roadmap for blockchain startup over there. And then I have talked to many government officials and also talk to businesses, and I find out that Vietnam government is a really like verbally supportive with blockchain and also for tech startup as a whole. So they really welcome the innovation of technology, especially the new one like blockchain, AI, big data. So the regulation is really shaping. And in this year, 2019, we have the option to pass new law bill. So we are really looking toward that. So looking forward to that and to have more like support in terms of regulation.
Obviously, you would like to see more of that holistic support, that top-down support from the government. And that's really interesting because Pei-Han's been through this with Singapore. They are very progressive. They are ahead of the times, much like Japan. And Pei-Han, one of the things that I think that people need to know is some examples of the use case, the applicability of the partnership itself. Can you talk us through any examples of how this partnership can act, be exemplified with a project, for example? Some of the notes I've made is in Vietnam, there's a football federation that both of you would be familiar with. Tri, you might be able to jump in as well, but how can we discuss evidence of the collaboration with real projects in real time with real people?
I think when we deal with these large-scale projects, it really takes quite some of time. So when we actually, when Kardiachain actually approached us, what we actually pick up is actually the football federation that actually Tri actually mentioned to us, which we think is actually quite interesting. Because if not wrong, from in Singapore, actually, we know that football in Vietnam is actually one of the hottest sports. Yeah. So we think actually that could be something we can actually explore into Vietnam via Kardia. And actually, you mentioned in previous questions that Vietnam is a developer hub. In Singapore, we also identified that Vietnam is actually growing bigger and bigger for the developer teams. So this is actually what we think for Morpheus we should actually station or maybe to establish more of a assistance over there. And I believe that with Kardia's and this first project they are exploring, the Soccer Federation, it could be only just the beginning, and I believe they actually have more to come as well.
Right. Well, Tri, could you tell us a bit more about that and how it relates also with Morpheus Labs specifically? Because I've spoken with Kardiachain previously on this topic, but certainly not in the way that Morpheus Labs could integrate and support you. But clearly it's a very important project that you want to start with.
Yeah, that's true. So in terms of the VFF, the Vietnam Football Federation, so it's just a part of our approach into getting more user, because our view is that football is a really good gateway in order to get more user into blockchain. So we partner with VFF, so the Pro Football Federation, and also we partner with Viet Football, the semi-pro community, and also with another channel like sport channel, the VTV cable sport channel. So they own the broadcasting license in Vietnam. So for that, they will own using the Kardiachain infrastructure in order to store of their data, to digitalize their document, and also so that will be given the foundation to build the application on top of that. So the first one we do it the on-spot app that currently running, but not using blockchain yet. They have 150,000 users at the moment, and we want to implement the blockchain layer on that application, because it will offer many things like gamify in-app gaming, and also donation for football player, and prediction game, and letting in the future it will be like betting in app. And it's just one app, and there will be more and more developer. They want to capitalize. They want to use on the data to build their own application, to tap into their own like user base. So that's why Morpheus Labs is a really important partnership, because they will have to onboarding new developer to reduce the time they need to develop the new application on Kardia.
Right. So Morpheus acts as the developer gateway, you know, the means in which also education can be possible and enabled through your platform. And you're approaching the whole mass adoption by looking at what is already a very popular activity to really engage the community and the consumer. So it's interesting that's happening. Now, obviously there's some other aspects that I wanted to talk about with regard to these technological collaborations as well. So might start with you, Tri, with regard to some of the technological ones, that those tech-centric things that you could really see as points of value, even if they're just brief. Can you comment on some of those aspects?
So you mean for the collaboration specifically?
Right. Yeah, that you can see where there was some sort of alignment of interest from a tech sense.
Yeah. For Morpheus Labs, they already have many like blockchain platform, for example, like Ethereum and Blockchain or CB chain. And for Kardiachain, we also already connected to Ethereum, Neo, Tron. So it's really helpful to have Kardia on Morpheus Labs, because these developers right now, they can not only they can test out the smart contract on Kardiachain, but they also try to the cross-chain function to do not with the Ethereum platform, for example.
Right, and I would imagine also, given the names you rattled off for both of those parties, both yourselves, is that it expands the range and the access to different chains for both of you. Is that fair to say?
Yes, I think so. Yep.
Okay, what about you, Pei-Han? Obviously, there's many reasons why you really wanted to focus on this partnership. What can you think of, just from the top of your head, technologically? What was something that really stuck out to you as an asset that Kardiachain brought into the Morpheus Labs equation? You know, what's something that you thought was a really genuine technological asset that they had?
I think, sorry, I think it was actually the technology that actually focusing about the elastic sharding. Actually really interesting to us. If not wrong, Kardiachain is actually the first one actually mentioned it to us. Yeah, if not wrong. I mean, it is to me, because I mean, in Morpheus, sometimes Bruce is actually in charge of actually talking to other partners and tutorial. But to me, this is actually first thing actually I heard of. And in technological collaboration that I foresee that we could do together is actually more like we'll be a sandbox actually hosting Kardia. And like we previously mentioned, we foresee that in future, there will be a lot of developers actually coming on board. They could actually quickly build whatever and test out whatever idea they have. Even they can actually come to the extent that actually they can actually communicate or maybe exchange ideas. It could be already a robust platform for them to actually continuously build on Kardia, evolve version 1.0, 2.0, and to 3.0 on Kardiachain. So that is something that we foresee could possibly happen.
Right. Well, there's obviously a lot of plans, and there's, I would imagine, a lot of potential in the pipeline for your collaboration. But Tri, what does it mean for you with Kardiachain? Let's talk about that for a moment. What does it mean for you to have this partnership? You know, if we talk about it more generally, for business, for example, if we talked about the developers, if we talk about empowerment of building out this ecosystem beyond even Vietnam, is it really something that can foster better business for you?
Yeah, because that's true. That's will happen a lot, because right now we also have many partnership with other private company and also government department. And one of the trouble one of the challenge we are facing is that the technical capacity of our partner is not really high enough in order to implement some of the feature that they want. So through Morpheus Labs, I think we onboard them into Morpheus Labs and using all the tool that Morpheus Labs is offer. I think and will help them a lot in order to to get what they want from Kardiachain platform.
I see.
Yeah.
And Pei-Han, what about you? I mean, obviously there's many different reasons we discussed about the partnership, but what is something that you would regard is a point of value for this partnership when it comes to business, for example? Is it something that's going to enable you to do better business from what you do with your BPaaS model, especially given that you are a service conduit?
Yes. Okay, yes. So the very, very key things that actually attract us, Morpheus, that is back to previous question. Vietnam is actually the technology talent pool. So this is not last year, is also not this year. It will be actually ongoing. We see that, and we believe that this talent pool will actually grow as a blockchain actually grow as well. So how we could actually capture more talents is actually start from now to offer, together with our blockchain partners, offer our platform to educate and to make all these audience used to our platform and grow together. So we'll be actually capturing, I mean, what our intention is actually capture more users. So that's actually from business point of view that we have in mind. And that's the reason why Vietnam.
So if I wanted to go and test or assess the growth that you both have achieved because of this partnership, will that be possible, do you think, in the near future? Say, for example, we put a stop in time now, and then I came back to you, let's say in a year. Do you think there's going to be real evidence of the value of this partnership?
I think that is the key fundamental metrics that we would actually implement for our this partnership. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what about you, Tri? What are your thoughts on this empirical evidence question, and whether if I came back in a year's time, we'd see real genuine benefit for you because you did this?
And based on the number of developer or Vietnamese developer that be onboarded onto Morpheus Labs platform.
Yes, we'll look forward. Hopefully we can do this again a year. That'd be an interesting thing to do. Now, with regard to future collaborations, obviously there's a lot already happening. Pei-Han, for example, you've onboarded a number of different blockchains. What's the plan for the future? Do you envisage even more blockchains working with Morpheus Labs?
Yes, our whole team is actually progressively and aggressively actually onboarding different blockchains based on our internal selection. Example just mentioned is actually the region and also their strength. And also there are actually a few things that in our partnership commonly we will actually forge. First is actually technology collaboration. We need to actually gel together. Mm-hmm. And next one is actually we would want our marketing and business development to synchronize together. Example, to synchronize our marketing campaign, online or offline. Mm-hmm. Offline could be actually offline developer campaigns in different regions. And BD is just an example like what Tri mentioned. It could be the federation, so-called federation, could actually explore bigger project together, handhold them from the start to complete the project to build our profile and use case in that region as well. So these are actually three main things that more, I would say, all our partnership that we actually focus on. And once we actually sign agreement, these are actually commonly between partners. Yeah.
Right. Excuse me. And obviously, Tri, you are doing the same. You're building out your own blockchains, as we've talked about. Are there more to come in partnerships that obviously indirectly Morpheus Labs could capitalize on as you build your own ecosystem out?
Yeah. So your question is the future collaboration?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Not just for Morpheus Labs, right?
No, for you more so, because obviously with your interoperability, I was trying to get a sense of what your plans are.
I see. Okay. So the future plan is firstly is we just connected to Tronics, the blockchain, and the next step we are looking into EOS, and also we talk with Qtum already in order to have support from them to expand the ecosystem. So the second thing is that we partner with more DApps, DApp project like Contested or Mix Marvel in order to offer like gaming DApps in order to leverage the interoperability of Kardiachain to swap the non-fungible token, the game item. So between on the DApp of Mix Marvel. And
Nice.
a third thing is we work with like private company, like traditional business, in order to so they will employ the private blockchain framework, and then and connect it to some public blockchain in order to partly give them a sense of transparencies.
Right. And it's really interesting you mentioned that last point of the enterprise parties, those private companies, because Pei-Han, I want to talk to you for a moment. Now, Hanwha was a really big thing when it was published, obviously a big deal in Korea. Now, when you hear Tri talk about the potential of enterprise and private companies with their own interest in Kardia, can you see or envisage any more work you could do with them in that area of business building of the private sector?
Do you mean by with Kardia?
Yeah, given that today we're talking about how Tri's explaining that they have an interest in that sector, and you have a lot of experience building out business. Specifically, you have a master's degree, you have a university degree in business itself. Do you see that there could be some collaboration, given you've already focused on Hanwha with Morpheus in the future?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, for us, Morpheus Labs, at least in maybe perhaps next half to 1 year, is actually all focused on education. So that's actually one of the points that our team actually discussed with the Kardia team. So I think generally, not only building on good use case as an example to actually when we actually share education with students, they will be easier to relate to. We will actually also actually focus on this part as well. I mean, within this enterprise, we will actually more towards education to grow together.
So in that sense, sorry to interrupt. So in that sense, a student could technically be a business. You know, it could be people, even CEOs, for example, or members of the business community.
Correct. I mean, students, we are not limited to maybe a college or university. It could be actually working adults or maybe professionals who want to actually upgrade their skills. Most likely, we think, especially in Singapore, it could be also similar in Vietnam. Most of people actually want to learn blockchain are actually like working adults. Yeah.
Right. And how important do you think it is to have a pro-government stance for both of you? Because obviously Australia is quite progressive as well. We're quite pro-blockchain, but you guys are in regions even more so. How important is that to have that collegial sort of support and to have that top-down support as you build this together?
Related to blockchain, I think it's quite important. I mean, to put it more blunt, for past few years, a lot of people actually relate blockchain to crypto. So I mean, with the government support, it actually at least remove the first layer DApp with this real, I would say, SME or enterprise, because most of the owners we talk to, SME and enterprise, they will be actually at a range of maybe late 40 or 50. So they are not that sure, but they have been actually hearing about crypto. So we actually, with government support, they actually give them a certain confidence. Yeah, so it's easier for us to actually to talk to them. This is actually the blockchain. What is it about?
Right, and it makes a lot of sense. Now, obviously, as we're alluding to, Asia is the blockchain hub of the space. Lots happening there. What about with regard to, you know, more generally, the overall value the enterprise brings? Because it's one thing for both of you to do really well independently, but it's another thing to create revenue. So that's where I'm going with this, is that how important is it for both of you to have this partnership to enhance your own revenue, to enhance your own performance, to really continue on and strengthen as a viable entity in this industry that's already very competitive?
Let me answer that first. I mean, for us, I'm actually a senior entrepreneur. So revenue is the key things that to survive and to grow. So that's the reason why if you any of our supporters actually study our tokenomics, we actually have a various way of business model, which actually put it in more layman. We're actually trying to maximize different channels to actually bring in to actually grow our next growth. So revenue is actually definitely very important, but the critical part is actually how we actually work together to reach the really 100% synergy with the partners. That is actually one vertical streamline that we totally can actually. I would say the revenue growth is actually we can even grow it bigger, or maybe put it in more BD. It's actually upsell or maybe cross sell to customers.
Right, and right now, Pei-Han, Sorry,
Yeah.
interrupt, but are you currently now making revenue? Is that the idea for 2019? Is that you can start to evidence that you're making money through your services and products?
Yes, I mean, we are actually in fact making money. I think in previous interview with you,
Yes.
we actually showed that we actually are making revenue as well. Indeed, I mean, I just finished an appointment. So there are actually a lot of the project-based customer actually can come to us. So for us, actually, we are handhold with those bigger projects and actually bundle our subscription together to them.
Right.
So maybe on this information, we can actually share this more. Yeah.
Got it. Now, Tri, revenue is really important, obviously, for you to survive beyond just the protocol itself. And Pei-Han's mentioned that he has a platform, he has revenue, and no doubt your partnership with him will increase that or strengthen that. What about you? How is it that you are going to build out your own position, your own financial success?
Yeah, so firstly, because we focus on building DApps, and for example, for that the football DApps I mentioned. So the revenue coming from that from that application is, I think, is quite promising, because the huge like potential user base. You know, from in Vietnam we have like tens of millions of users that watching football, let alone just sport. There is even more user to use the sport the app, and so to getting more developer in order to build more that kind of application on Kardiachain, that actually increase the transaction on Kardiachain, and on that in turn will generate the return for the Kardiachain Foundation. And for the on-spot application that we partnership with VFF and the VTV cable, along that will be a profitable business, because we will share the revenue, the advertising revenue, the license fee, and stuff like that.
Right. Well, what about network sharing for both of you gentlemen? Obviously, part of the partnership is to share resources. So is that going to be ongoing, that you will collaborate, that you'll communicate consistently to support each other? And is this a long-term thing?
Yes, I mean, it comes naturally. I mean, for us, is that the reason why we are onboarding these partners is actually naturally our customer wants to actually see which one is actually the best fit. They don't want to see, I mean, a platform that only has 2 or 3. They want to see they are actually these partners that actually each of them has a different strength, and you could also be better to actually complement each other, because in future we'll be actually talking about interoperability. So it comes nature. We actually keep promoting to our different industry, different clients. Kardiachain would actually suitable for this, or maybe another blockchain partner is actually suitable for that. Yeah, so that's actually our business model.
Right. Well, just to finish off, gentlemen, it's been interesting to talk about the partnership today, and hopefully we can catch up again later just to get an insight on how you've grown. But in that respect, Tri, I wanted to ask you, let's imagine that we are speaking for perhaps in 6 months from time, and we're looking in at the growth that has happened because of this one partnership. What do you think is going to happen? What would you like to say to those people who are trying to understand the real true nature of this partnership, in terms of what you can predict, what you think will happen because you already know some of the value that this partnership's bringing?
Yeah, so first is we're seeing more developers that are using Morpheus Labs in order to discover the potential of Kardiachain. The second, we will have more DApp actually running on Kardiachain, because we are looking to launch our mainnet in Q3 this year. So that the 2 key things that I'm looking into. So more developer and more DApp that we build on.
Okay, so got it. So DApps and developers, the DD. Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, Pei-Han, for you, obviously, you have your own interest being education-centric, all about that middleware of software that's, connecting blockchain with business, and even with scholarship and learning. So what do you think will happen, in the next few months as you start to really strengthen this particular and unique partnership, so that later we can see more evidence of this value?
Yeah. So the reason why Morpheus that we think we actually fit into the right spot is between protocol and user is as a platform of infrastructure tools. So like what Tri has mentioned is actually exactly what we are achieving. I mean, in future we'll be actually seeing a lot of our A library filled up with Kardiachain DApps.
Mm-hmm.
And also the user growth is also coming from this thing. They actually, all the users are actually coming back to our platform to use it to actually upgrade their DApp on Kardia, or maybe to build a new one, or maybe to actually to maintain it. Yeah, so this is actually what we are actually looking for.
Right.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, it's been really interesting to hear some of the discussion about how you're linking. Is there anything you'd like to say, Tri, to the community? You know, often we hear people questioning, for example, whether or not a partnership is real or not. So just to let us know, you know, as retail and consumers of crypto, what would you like to say to all of us, you know, as listeners, about the partnership specifically between Morpheus Labs and yourselves, Kardiachain?
So about the partnership with Morpheus Labs and Kardiachain, I just want to say that we will work our best in order to bring like the best DApp that gonna have the first DApp that have mass adoption in the blockchain industry. Yeah, we're targeting 1 million users for that on spot DApp.
Right. Well, that's a big call, and obviously football, or in my country, soccer. It's, you know, one of the arguably the most popular sport in the planet, and you're doing something to really achieve mass adoption. So I wish you well on that. What about you, Pei-Han, as the CEO for Morpheus Labs? What would you like to say to those who didn't know anything about this partnership, listen to the interview, but what's the fundamental message you want to say about the connection with Kardia?
Okay, so for connection of Kardia is that as of all our partners, we as a team, we actually did a lot of the, I would say, discussion and due diligence before we form any partnership, whether it's actually with a big name or maybe upcoming protocols. That is actually, I would say, a tier one. Mm-hmm. Tier two, that previous question that you mentioned, revenue. I mean, we are in to make business, to do business. So going forward, once the partnership is actually formed, I mean, for our team, we actually keep chasing our partners. Okay, what's the next step? What's the next step?
Right.
I mean,
never stop.
Yeah, we never stop. I mean, you know me. I mean,
I do.
Basically, our team is actually 24/7, 7/11. So we do keep chasing.
Blockchain time, which doesn't seem to stop. I don't know how you both sleep. Well, gentlemen, on that note, thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it. I know you're extremely busy and it was difficult to get you both on the same time. It's been really interesting. If you'd like to know more about Kardiachain, or if you'd like to know more about Morpheus Labs, don't forget to look at the description below. All the links will be there. It is important I also remind everyone I am an ambassador for Morpheus Labs. That does mean that I am paid to do this ambassador role for them in a real and true position that has deliverables. And one of them is to make sure you're informed about every step they make. One of them is a partnership with Kardiachain. So it's important we know what it means, what it stands for, how real is it, and what their plans are, both of them moving forward. Gentlemen, you've done that today. You've explained that, and I thank you both sincerely for your time.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Take care and good night.